everyone. My name is Charles Midipi, and I'll be sharing with you the summary of both frameworks, that is TOGAF as well as Zachman framework. First off, I'll start off with the TOGAF framework. TOGAF is the Open Group Architecture Framework. It's a framework for enterprise architecture that provides an approach for designing, developing, implementing, and governing an enterprise information technology architecture. TOGAF is a high-level approach to design. It is typically modeled at four levels, that is business, application, data, and technology. It relies heavily on modularization, standardization, and already existing proven technologies and products. TOGAF was developed in the early 1995 by the Open Group. It's mostly based on DoDs and TAFIM. TOGAF is based on four interrelated areas of specialization called architecture domains. The domains are business architecture, data architecture, application architecture, technical or also known as technological architecture. The business architecture defines the business strategy, the governance, organization, and the key business processes of the organization. The data architecture, it describes the structure of an organization's logical and physical data assets and associated data management resources. The application architecture, it provides a blueprint for the individual systems to be developed, to be deployed, and the interactions between the application systems and their relationships to the core business processes of the organizations, with the frameworks for services to be exposed as business functions in interrogation. Technical architecture, also known as technological, it describes the hardware, software, and network infrastructure needed to support the development of core mission-critical applications. Now, the Zachman framework is an enterprise ontology and is a fundamental structure for enterprise architecture, which provides a formal and structured way of viewing and defining an enterprise. The ontology is a two-dimensional classification schema that reflects the intersection between two historical classifications. The first are primitive interrogatives, that is what, how, when, who, where, and why. The second is derived from the philosophical concept of reification, the transformation of an abstract idea into an instantiation. The Zachman framework reification transformations are identification, definition, representation, specification, configuration, and instantiation. Sorry about that. The Zachman framework is not a methodology in that it does not imply any specific method or process for collecting, managing, or using the information that it describes. Rather, it is an ontology whereby a schema for organizing architectural artifacts, in other words, design documents, specifications, and models, is used to take into account both who the artifact targets, for example, business owner and builder, and what particular issue, for example, data and functionality, is being addressed. It was developed by John Zachman, which is why it's called after him, the creator. It was developed in the 1980s at the IBM company.
The advantages and disadvantages of the Zachman framework and the TOGAF. Firstly, the advantages of the Zachman framework. improving professional communications within the information system community, understanding the reason for and risk of not developing any one architectural representations, placing a wide variety of tools and methodologies in relation to one another, developing improved approaches to produce each of the architectural representations, as well as possible rethinking the nature of the classic application development process as we know it today. The framework seems to promote a top-down approach to development. When people first read about the Zachman framework, they think it's a top-down approach. The last disadvantage of the Zachman framework. The Zachman framework appears to be biased towards traditional data center techniques. Advantages of the Zachman framework. It can lead to a documentation-heavy approach that it excels in the structure, which could be supported by one or more models. It can lead to a process-heavy approach to development. You can instantly see the opportunity to define a collection of rigorous process to support the Zachman framework. The Zachman framework isn't well accepted within the development community, and few developers even seem to have even heard about it.